Make sure you have the Amplify CLI installed and authorized. There's a link in the description on how to do this. Now head to the studio and click on local setup instructions. Copy the pull command and run it in your terminal to pull both the components, data model, and some Amplify settings. You will be redirected to the browser to authorize the pull request. Click Yes to continue and head back to the terminal afterwards. Amplify will ask you a few questions to understand your project better so it knows where to pull the files to. Choose your editor, choose JavaScript as the language, choose React as the framework. Since it's a Next project, the root directory is the source directory. The .next folder is the build directory. The build command is npm run build and the start command is npm run dev. Lastly, answer yes to be able to modify the backend. Now back to the editor, you should see that we now have a few new files and folders. Most importantly, we have the UI components folder which contains the React code for each of the components we had in Figma. As you can see, we have the hero component, the nav component, among other components. And we are pulling them all together and re-exporting them in the index.js file. The changes we made to the theme are stored in the studio theme.js file and exported as a JSON object. Open the app.js file and import Amplify. Import the theme file, import the Amplify provider, import the reset CSS file, import the Amplify UI kit styles, and lastly, import the interfont. Wrap the app tree with the provider and pass the studio theme object to the provider. When we pulled, Amplify also pulled our config settings. We need to configure Amplify with these settings in the app.js file. Import the config object, then call amplify.configure and pass it the configuration. Open the index.js page from the pages folder, delete everything in the folder, and create a basic component. Let's try one of the components we created. Import the hero component from the UI components folder and import the view component. The view component is basically a div wrapper. Render the view component and render the hero component inside it. Then head to the browser and you should see the rendered hero component.